So,
Yes.
Ms. Notoriety, Ms. Social Butterfly, Ms. Local Tourist of Chicago, which is soon to be much more. What made you decide to do this one day? This is not a venture that most people would do. I mean, people love to tour, but I mean, it's kind of an entrepreneurial thing that you've done, and it's so far served you well. I mean, what was the inspiration?
For the local
Well,
tourist.
yeah.
I moved to Chicago, and the citywide sites were too large, too broad for what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what was going on in my neighborhood because I moved up here from Indianapolis, and I knew.
When was that?
The 2001, October 20th, 2001.
Yeah.
And I made the decision to move up here after September 11th. I'd known I needed to move for a long time.
Well, I didn't even put the two together. That date was so close to the.
Yeah.
That's something you would never. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now, I'd been commuting back and forth to see my son. He lives in one of the suburbs with his dad and stepmom, and I've been commuting back and forth, and it's not an easy commute because he lives in the far northwest suburbs. So, and I knew I needed to move, but I kept dragging my feet, and it was just a big decision to make. I didn't know anybody up here. Yeah, my parents lived up here, but they were in the suburbs, and that I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I just gotten my degree, and it was just really, it was kind of scary. But then September 11th happened, and I realized that I needed to move to Chicago, and I needed to move now. So September 15th, I drove up to Chicago, I found an apartment, I signed the lease that weekend, and I moved up October 20th.
Wow. So your degree was in journalism, right?
Yeah.
From where?
Indiana University, Indianapolis.
Cool. All right. So, now, again, you may have mentioned this, but for someone sleep deprived as I am, or didn't catch it right away, you came here in mind to start something like a local tourist, or you just came here to move?
I came here to be close to Sean.
Okay.
And
So it wasn't the business decision to say local tourist right away.
No.
There was, okay.
No. That's
Ulterior motive per se before the local tourist came to life.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to work for myself, and I knew I wanted to write. So when I moved up here, I chose to wait tables because that would give me the flexibility to figure out what I wanted to do, and a better
Whereabouts?
income than some other things.
Whereabouts? Waiting tables.
I started off at Kinsey Chop House. I was there for a year and a half,
Okay.
and that was a really, really good experience. And but then I went to Sullivan's. They recruited me. And then I worked there for 4 years.
Okay.
Worked there 4 years to the day. Worked there Valentine's Day, almost 3 years ago.
Okay. So waiting table. So that was something you were doing just to keep afloat, and then somewhere along the way, I mean, you mentioned in the beginning that you knew that tourist sites were too broad or they weren't informative. You already mentioned
It was too big. I mean, I moved to Chicago, and Chicago's a big, huge city, and you
Right.
get here and you don't know. Get here, we're still on the train just outside of Memphis, but get to a city like that, and it's just confusing. I didn't
Right.
know where Milwaukee and Damon was, and I didn't know where Pilsen was or anything else. I knew I moved to River North. And that was all I knew. And I wanted to know where the grocery store was, where the gas station, where the dry cleaners. And so the site first started off as a business directory, and it was just, okay, I figured if I wanted to know this, then other people probably do as well. Well, once I knew where my grocery store was and the gas station and the dry cleaner, then of course I wanted to know where to go out to dinner and go to bars and what fun things were going on. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I had my needs met and I wanted to go have fun.
Okay.
So that's where the entertainment became a more important part of the site.
Okay. So then, by that rationale, it's almost like the preacher who is the better preacher because he's lived the life of sin and didn't just go in to be pious. And no,
Some would say I'm living a life of sin now with as much.
well,
as I
yes, but there's it could be debatable, which is more of a market. But anyway, no, but would you then say that part of your success is because it started up as a first-hand need, and you decided
absolutely it was see a need, fill a need.
Okay, but when was the aha moment that you know you were doing this for yourself, and you're like, you know what, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this and make it a job?
It's going to sound silly. When I had my first 4 subscribers, I started a newsletter shortly after.
What was the newsletter for, though? Because you weren't doing the local tourists, so what was
the
it?
Newsletter? It was the local tourist newsletter. I still do the newsletter.
Well, right, but when my question was, before the local tourist newsletter happened, there must have been something sparked before the local tourist became, a reality that you were doing this for yourself and you were doing this as a first-hand experience. But I mean, I'm pretty sure when you were looking this information, you weren't looking up this information already with the local tourist quote.
Oh yeah, I was. I already had the domain name.
Huh.
Oh, I'd had the domain name because when I was in Indianapolis, I love to travel,
right.
And I had this idea that I was going to start an online travel agency, and
okay.
Started working on that. So I had the domain name already because when I travel, I like to go where the locals go. So I thought the local tourist and snapped it up, and at first it was just a travel agency, and then I moved up to Chicago, and the name just fit, and the concept fit. It was exactly.
So the local tourist stemmed from Indiana. It was not a Chicago-born thing. That's
no.
And now, us, the lucky Chicagoans, such as myself and everyone else from Chicago watching this, we reap the benefits.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the concept started in the Bahamas, but.
Most source of inspiration.
Yes, I was on a vacation in the Bahamas with my boyfriend at the time, and we were staying at one of those all-inclusive resorts, and we were heading into into Nassau to do some shopping. We were on the bus, and we asked the bus driver where he had lunch. Like, where do you go to lunch?
Mm-hmm.
And he told us, and it was this little place off the side of the road. So he dropped us off ahead of time. He said, okay, you're going to walk down there about half a mile, and it's on the left, and we went and had the best lobster we've ever had, and it was $5. It was just this amazing experience.
What?
Yeah. And
$5 lobster?
And we are local.
I can't wrap my brain around anywhere you can get a $5 lobster that's good anywhere. I mean, you're like raving about a $5 lobster.
It was in the Bahamas, in that area. It was where the locals go, and the economy was depressed there. But that's, we got to go where, what the bus driver, where somebody who lived there, what he thought was a great place to go and where he liked to frequent, so he sent us there.
Okay.
And that's where the name and the idea was born, and feeling like a local when you're a tourist and feeling like a tourist when you're a local. Because by sending us there, then he could experience our excitement.
I never put that together, because I always thought the concept of local tourist was that you're a tourist but you live here.
Kind of, but the tagline has always been, and that my mission statement, is experience the fascination of the tourist, feel the comfort of a local.
Was that first? Because I don't see that unless it's on your website, and I'm just claiming ignorance that I've not seen it in a while because I'm seeing you. And
it was actually it was on the site before I did the redesign. And it's something I need to add back in. I have it on marketing materials.
Okay, so I don't feel that bad, and neither do people watching. Interesting that the local tour started in Indiana, and it's here in Chicago, and that's where you base it off of. But now, for someone like myself, again, we know the site, and we don't always go. I mean, I don't notice any Indiana branch.
Not yet.
Okay. And segue, what's next for the local tourist?
Expanding to other cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe including the one we just came from?
Absolutely, they need one.
Yeah.
Well, for an example, last night we wanted to listen to some live music, and ahead of time I had gone to, I'd ordered the vacation package, the travel package, and they sent it to me, but the main guide didn't have anything for live music. Memphis is the birthplace of rock and roll, and it's Blues City, and there was no category for live music, and I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, they need a tourist.
So then, by that rationale, it's safe to say, and people may have seen this in other videos, that here we were both going for selfish motives, and it's always a good thing knowing that by one person helping another, you're helping not only that person, you're helping yourself, and and now it seems that maybe they'll be helping a lot of people as far as Memphis goes. So, and I don't know if it's premature to ask this, but you're talking about an ebook that you're working on as well.
I am.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get that done in the next couple weeks. I've been focusing on this trip.
Which I'm grateful for, and we're all grateful for from Right on the Rails, by the way. And you've done an amazing job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I speak from the heart when I say that.
I know. Especially after this long together. I think we've been apart 3 hours this entire trip. It's been, and we.
Yeah, that's about right. In Carbondale,
yeah, I'm working on an ebook. It's going to be basically just the facts, man, because this trip, people come in for 2-3 days at a time, and they don't need the big. Chicago can be overwhelming. There's just so much to do. So my job has always been, and my expertise has always been, to drill it down to what people really want to know. And so I'm working on doing that for an ebook, and it's going to be geared just towards tourists coming in and help them get the most out of our amazing city.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to answer the questions. You've always been asking them, and I think it's about time the tables were turned. What a better trip. So, the shameless plugging, and it may be the obvious question, but for those who may stumble upon this on the internet somewhere, we hope you do, and they don't see you and they've never seen you, where would you send them to?
thelocaltourist.com.
Okay.
Or as some of my friends would say, thelocaltourist.com.
Fair enough. Cheers, Carter. It's been a pleasure.